1991. It was a day that we were just getting hammered at the Day on the Green. Metallica was playing, and we decided that we were going to start a new band because he wasn't happy with the band that he was in at the time. So that was the day that we had the idea, and here we are now, 20 years later. A shortage of good bass players. I didn't even want to play bass. I played guitar at first, yeah. And I was jamming with our first guitar player, Logan. And we didn't have a bass player, and he was like, well, why don't you try and play bass? And I was like, I don't want to fucking play bass. He's all, well, why don't you just try it? And the first time I picked up a bass, it was obvious that I was a bass player, just with my heavy-handed style and the huge strings on that thing that could take it and make it sound good. You know, I was just like, fuck, I'm a bass player. Yeah, about a year. Then, you know, we're in the studio for a few months after that. Things are still getting worked on all the way up until, you know, the end. I mean, we were on the Mayhem tour in the United States, and Rob was flying back and forth, and, you know, doing stuff with the mix and everything. Not the best way to do things, I think, but it worked out in the end. We've never had a record 2 months after it was out where the fans know so much of the words and everything. You can see them singing it, and it's like, wow, you guys already know this shit. It's pretty amazing. The pressure of thinking about your last record and what it did is not a good place to be. You know, it's not a good space to create anything from, and it doesn't get you into the mindset of making something cool and unique. You know, it just keeps you thinking about the past. That's a bad idea, and I think we learned that the hard way over time. You know, I mean, everybody's had those people that come, you know, out of nowhere, and they come into your life all of a sudden. They'll consume everything they possibly can from you, and then when you finally figured it out, you cut them completely off. They just fly away. And I mean, that's that in a nutshell. There's no shortage of people like that around, and that's basically what the metaphor is. Well, in order to have heavy, you have to have light. In order to have dark, you have to have light. Yes, you have to have no. Up, down, hot, cold, male, female. You know, I mean, it's duality, and everything has a contrast. And in order to feel something that's super heavy, you have to have something for it to contrast against. And it's better if there's some depth to that, you know, some melody and some depth and intricacies that, you know, are known as musicianship. Dio was amazing all the way up until he had, you know, until he died. He was an amazing human being, and he had an amazing voice. He could hear it and nail it every time, and he did. And he didn't even warm up his voice. It was just naturally badass. And he's the only person singing for Black Sabbath that has done a job like that. Probably in 20 years. So, there you go. I think everybody would agree with me that he had a huge heart. You know, he was an amazing individual and cared about his fellow man. Judas Priest, I like their sonic quality a little bit better, the way that their instruments sound. Halford's got an amazing voice. Dickinson's got an amazing voice. you know, Ian Hill cannot hold a candle to Steve Harris. Sorry. But I mean, a bass player that's all up in your face and you know, right at the front of the stage, pushing the front man out of the way, compared to a guy that hides at the corner of the stage, just doing his thing. This is like, come on. The drumming on Iron Maiden is better than Judas Priest. I'm gonna give it to Iron Maiden because Dickinson's a pilot and so am I.
Yeah, you are.
Dickinson flies big planes. I have a little one single engine on the front plane that fits 4 people in it. Cliff Burton and Geezer Butler were really the ones that stand out to me just because they were so fucking aggressive. Yeah, I think we're headlining the Hellfest. We're gonna do that. And then we're gonna do Rock'em Ring, Rock'em Park. I think we're headlining the Wacken Festival.
Yes, I heard about this.
Would I think it'd be fun to work with somebody else? Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be killer to put together a project where, you know, we make some music and then like Eminem raps over it. I think that could be amazing. But, you know, would we call it Machine Head? I don't think so. Metallica is a phenomenon. So many things have lined up perfectly for those guys, you know, and you know, it just exploded. They're so far, you know, so many miles beyond the closest, you know, the closest one in the pack. You know, there's Metallica way out here, and then there's everybody else way back here. Yeah. You know, we're way back here with everybody else. And they've been pretty bulletproof up until now. You know, they could do whatever they wanted to, and it was going to sell because it had Metallica's name on it. Because Metallica has consistently put out outstanding quality. I'm not a fan of the Lulu thing, but what I can say about it is that they do whatever they want, and they don't care what you think about it. And I think that's awesome. Not done yet. Yeah, I guess. We got a lot of ground to go still. A lot of things to still do.